Hey guys, welcome back to another cooking video with RoniB TV. Today I prepared cube steak, yellow rice, and green beans. I'm not going to show you guys how I made the yellow rice because I think everyone pretty much knows how to make yellow rice out of the box. I usually use Zatarain's, but let's get into these fresh green beans. So I did prepare fresh green beans by cutting off the ends. I personally do not like the ends on my green beans. I think they just look better. I think there is a formal word for when you leave them on. I don't remember right now. But girl, check out this cinematography. My girl Amaya was doing her thing with the camera. Just a close-up of me chopping the ends off the green beans and throwing them over into my colander because I did give them a second wash once I was done preparing them. Now let's jump into getting our pan ready to make our cube steak. So I like to start out with olive oil, a few tablespoons, and also a couple of tablespoons of butter. The combination to me makes the flavor just go kapow in your mouth. I love frying with olive oil and butter mixed. Here I am putting in those couple of tablespoons of butter and giving it a quick mix so that it can warm up. I love cooking on a gas stove. I think you have so much more control when you do that. Now I'm going into my seasonings for my cube steak. I use black pepper, seasoning salt, garlic powder, and onion powder. Of course, we floured those bad boys and then we put them off in that pan to give them a light fry. Now you don't want to cook them all the way through. You just basically want to get them brown on both sides. Once they brown on both sides, you want to get you a rack to just let them drain. You want to get as much of the oil as possible off of the meat before you put them back into your homemade gravy. So as you can see, mine have browned to my liking, and now I'll be taking them out and putting them on my rack to drain. I'm ghetto and old school. I just have a cookie sheet rack and a cookie sheet at the bottom to let them drain. But as you can see over there in that right bottom corner, I am taking the brown bits that collected in the bottom of my pan and putting them to the side, because what I'm going to do is right now, as you can see, I'm putting them back in my pan because this is going to be your base for the best gravy that you've ever made. Forget about that kitchen bouquet and the browning or whatever you use when you want to be lazy. I'm just throwing off some flour over into the pan with those brown bits, and I'm going to incorporate the flour with the brown bits and stir to get them broken up. You want them to be pretty loose before you add your liquid. Getting them loose is going to make them incorporate into the liquid a lot faster and melt down and give you the best brown gravy color that you could imagine without using the browning or the kitchen bouquet or gravy master or whatever people use. I ain't gonna lie, I use it sometimes as well when I'm being lazy, but today I just wanted to give you guys a demonstration that you can do this without using those other type of products. So again, I'm just getting them as loose as possible. Now, I don't really measure, but I'm just gonna guess that I put about 2.5 cups of water into the pan. Judging by, I think that's about 2.5 cups. But anyway, you're going to put your water in and you're going to stir again. Listen, guys, if you want to be a good cook, you have to learn patience. You can't cook fast. You have to really cook with determination and love. And I was determined to get this gravy perfect. As you can see, pretty much as soon as I poured the liquid into the pan, you could see that the color started to develop. Now I'm still stirring because some of those brown bits are still a bit stuck together. So we're just going to keep working it. And as the liquid heats up, it's going to start to melt down those brown bits. So remember, stir. Now that my gravy is at the consistency and color that I like, I'm just going to season it up a little bit with onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, and a little bit of Lowry's. Now remember, those brown bits were pretty flavorful, so you don't need a whole lot. You just want to offset the liquid, which was the water that you poured in, which would dilute some of the flavor. So we're just adding it back just a little bit. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I'm struggling through this voiceover because I am not feeling the best right now, and I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I've been under the weather, guys, for like a whole week. This never happens to RoniB. I am never sick. But anywho, I knew I wanted to get this video out, so here I go. Now we're at the point to where we are putting our meat back into our gravy. Now, you want to take your meat and put it back in once your gravy has started to simmer just a bit. You don't want it boiling, you don't want it on high. I would say a medium low is just where you want it. And you want to have enough liquid that when you put your cube steak meat back into your pan, it's going to be covered, because we're going to simmer it for about 25 to 30 minutes. You want your cube steak to be tender, and you should be able to just cut it with a fork. So as you can see, I am adding all of my cube steak pieces back into my gravy. And I think that, yep, that's the last piece. So I'm just working it into the gravy to make sure that it's all nice and covered. We want that gravy to just soak into that meat and give it even more flavor. Flavor, flavor, flavor. Flavor is key. Nobody wants to eat bland food. Now, while my meat is simmering on medium low, again, it's going to take about 25 to 30 minutes. I'm going to work on those green beans. I'm starting out by putting a couple of tablespoons of butter into my pan, putting in some garlic as well, and that is minced garlic. You don't want to burn your garlic, so make sure you're keeping an eye on it until you put your green beans over in the pan, okay? So right now I'm just incorporating the butter and the garlic together. And once that's melted down a bit and warmed up, I'm going to toss over in my freshly cut green beans. You want to season those green beans up a little bit with some garlic powder, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper. I guess I didn't show you guys that part. I'm sorry. Anywho, I am just tossing them around and just getting them warmed up. You can tell that they are doing something because the color is changing. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So after I've let that cook for about 5 to 10 minutes, oops, there it is. I did show you that I was putting a little bit of garlic in there. Of course, we used some minced garlic, so you didn't need a whole bunch more. But my mom always used to put garlic in her green beans because she said it takes the canned flavor out, and it does. But these were fresh, so I didn't need to use a whole lot. Now I'm preparing my mushrooms. I am taking them out of the container and making sure to give them a good rinse, because mushrooms grow out of the ground, guys. I don't care what the package says. Always rinse off your veggies. So that's what I'm doing. I'm giving them a good mix around, making sure that I'm getting the water in all of the little crevices and getting them nice and clean before we add them to our green beans. All right, so before we add them to our green beans, we're going to make sure that we cut them up just a bit. You want them diced, I guess. You don't want whole. I mean, you could put whole ones in, but I just thought that it would be better if I cut them up a little bit. So now I'm just putting them over into my green beans that have been cooking now for about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. Fresh green beans are going to take a little bit longer to cook than the ones in the can. But you don't want them to be mushy. You still want them to have some nice color, and you still want them to be a bit firm but tender at the same time when you eat them, if that makes any sense. That's just how I do mine. Anywho, I am incorporating the mushrooms into the green beans now. And once I get them nice and incorporated, oh girl, look at that cinematography again. Yes, honey, the shots are everything. We're going to cover them up and we're going to let them cook just a little bit longer, maybe another 10 minutes or so, where the flavors from the mushrooms have incorporated and it's a good time. Yummy, yummy. Now I am checking on my cube steak. It is nice and tender. I can tell because when I stuck that fork in there, it just sunk right in. Now I'm just going to flip them just to make sure that both sides are doing what they're supposed to do. And they were. Yep, turning them all over. And as you can see, that gravy got a little bit thicker because, of course, the flour that you use to make the cube steak has incorporated into the gravy. And here we have it, guys. This is the final product. Again, I told you that I wasn't going to show you how to make yellow rice or rice pilaf. I can't remember if it was yellow rice or rice pilaf, but it was literally a box of Zatarain's. Simple to do. The rice cooks up in about 20 minutes as well. And here you have it. Rice, cube steak with gravy, and fresh green beans with mushrooms. I hope you guys have learned something from this video. And let me tell you, it was delicious. So don't forget, subscribe to RoniB TV, like, comment, and share, and I will keep these videos coming. I hope everyone has a blessed week. Thanks for watching.